Mappa is officially canceled! It feels like the full Dookie Super Saiyan Goku.
And I want to learn more, and more, and more!
Oh yeah, it's the champ. Let's go!
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Plastic Power Podcast. This is Starblast Studios alongside Daredevil 19 and Champ Animations. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about Mappa, the animation studio known for animating JUJUTSU KAISEN, Attack on Titan, Hell's Paradise, Chainsaw Man, and a bunch of other animes that, like, you might really enjoy. They are notorious for, like, being able to, like, animating a lot of different, popular shows right now, but a lot of popular animes. And yes. It's insane, like, just how much they're able to, like, actually do. And we found out exactly why that is and what exactly has been going on behind the scenes, which is why, currently, as of right now, we're getting rumors that Season 2 of JUJUTSU KAISEN might be getting canceled. And today, we're going to be talking about that on this episode, discussing the working conditions and such, talking about the animators, and say exactly why all of them are just been heavily mistreated.
I meant to boo the executives.
Yeah, the executive. The executives are really the problems here. Like, the animators are. It's really sad because, like, anytime there's an episode that Mappa animated, rather than the executives being blamed for what's being produced, it's the animators that get shat on, despite the fact that they're the victims of these executives working underneath these conditions. Basically, to give you guys a little bit of an example here. So, Dragon Ball Super, in order to produce an episode of Super, they had about, like, I would say, three or 4 months to be able to produce an episode. They didn't even when they announced Dragon Ball Super and put out the date for it, they didn't even have anything animated at that point. So the working conditions in Dragon Ball at Toei Animations were so bad, and that's what essentially caused Episode 5.
Is that the Super Saiyan 3 Goku?
Yeah, the Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Beerus fight. Yeah, that is insane.
The greatest animated battle in history.
But what we found
we
out...
don't talk about that.
What we found out recently, and this is an example of the working conditions at Mappa right now, which is kind of like an everyday thing for the animators. So for the JUJUTSU Kaisen movie, this got like $200 million in the box office. They were only given 4 months to animate this thing. Just 4 months. The same amount that you would see for a Dragon Ball Super episode. Now, granted, Mappa is a much bigger studio, and so, like, the conditions and such are not exactly the same, but still, 4 months for a movie.
Yeah, and originally, a movie of anime or an animated movie, you get like 2 to 3 years to make that movie, not 4 months. And I did see that in theaters. Yeah, it's like, what in the
4 months is like, what? Like, you have to think about all the, like, you're going through, like, script, storyboarding, and then you have to do backgrounds, you have to do keyframes, and then it just this huge long process. And to do that for, like, a movie that's like maybe like an hour and say 30 minutes or something like that. Yeah. That's not possible. Like, you're basically working overnights at that point, like working more than 40 hours in 4 months. Like, that's ridiculous. It, like, how? Like, what that don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense.
And they don't pay animators as much as, like, what the execs are getting and stuff. So it's a shame too.
Think of it this way: like, if it takes 1 to 2 years to animate a movie, thinking about it, like, in live action terms, it takes 6 months to shoot a movie. So you're not just gonna just be like, oh, okay, let's get it on a deadline. Just we have to meet in form. That's I didn't know about that part. That just blows my mind. That's ridiculous. It's like they have no idea of, like, how the animation. Sorry, I'm getting a little angry. I'm getting a little angry.
And they're like in the top animation, like, studios in Japan, and they were trying to be like in the top 3, which they were. But I think now after this,
the
people
animators
are
were
gonna,
trying to
like,
do their own
boycott
thing. It was
them.
mostly the executives that was really trying to push the studio to be able to meet
Yeah.
that same area as like UFOtable and well, I don't remember the
UFOtable.
UFOtable and I think Kendo Productions. I don't remember the name of the other studio.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, which is ironic because these are actual studios that are known for treating the animators well. So like, you're not gonna end up
Yes.
feeling bad if like, you know, watching an episode of Demon Slayer, thinking, oh my god, that guy just like went through so much like, you know, slave labor just to be able to produce this stuff. That's basically what it kind of
Yeah.
is at the
Mappa.
at Mappa currently. Yes.
Yeah.
Um.
Which you can't treat your employees or workers like that.
Okay.
And that's with like any company out there. But like what Champ was saying, you got to go to school for this stuff. So it's like you should be getting paid a lot more.
Here's the
money
thing:
than that.
is that this is actually most of where the like a lot of the animators start from. Some of these animators they don't even go to school. The way that they start off
Yeah.
animation is it all stems from like a passion area. They would do this stuff as like a thing on the side for fun. They would do this thing as a thing of enjoyment because of out of their, you know, just love for animation. And
Yeah.
and their skills would just get good enough to the point where they can use that as reference. They end up working, you know, with other studios. So like people who work at Mappa, there's a lot of people who work digitally overseas that they hire. So they just send a bunch of their like, you know, files and such through Google Drive and such. And I don't know. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
I don't know if that's the exact thing, but
They
it
probably
most
take
likely is.
advantage. They're taking advantage of them pretty much. Is what they're doing.
Yeah,
Real big advantage. These guys probably like, oh my god, I'm working for Mappa. I'm an animator. Like they're probably psyched that they have that job, and then come to find out their working conditions. Like, geez, man.
Yeah,
Give
no kidding.
people like a breather to sit down and be able to properly animate it and not feel super rushed. Because I don't like feeling rushed with anything, even at like jobs. Like I don't like when they're extra pushy or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Micromanaging, you know, on your ass like 24/7. Like it's just
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest.
I understand things need to get done, but you got to give people a certain amount of time to get specific things done. I mean, they don't happen like that. You know what I mean? Things can take time to get finished, and animation can take some time.
Now, I do want to stress for the people who are watching this right now, we still like we're recording this before the new episode of Jujutsu Kaisen has released. We don't even know if it's going to release this Thursday or not, or how that stuff is going on. Like the rumors are like all over the place. What's really going to end up happening, we still don't know at the time of recording this. So by the time this pops out, we might not even see episode 18 of Jujutsu Kaisen, or if you do end up seeing it, it's gonna look like episode 5 of Dragon Ball Super.
So they release an episode every Thursday.
Yes, they do. Oh,
So-
for us at least, it would be Friday in Japan. But yeah,
All right,
for us,
so-
Thursday.
And
So
it's
say-
like right now they're in the Shibuya arc, the Shibuya incident in JJK, and I know that's like one of the most famous arcs in JJK at the moment. So them not completing that would just be.
Is it a flashback still? Because I
No,
know
no,
they
no,
like,
no,
had
they're-
the-
they're
past
All right,
that.
so now it's back in present time.
That was
Yes.
the first half of the second season. That now in modern day, modern day.
Another thing I don't think we've mentioned yet is last episode, right? This was what we were talking about last episode. They had mere hours before it aired.
That wasn't just for last episode. That was for a bunch of episodes and such that was, you know, released
God.
beforehand. This was a normal working condition for Mappa. But like yeah, that did happen with the last episode. But this newer episode that came out like last week,
Yep.
this was one of the best animated episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen I've ever seen. Really, in this is up there with like some of the best animated episodes in all of anime. Like from what
I haven't seen it yet,
You
so I'm not caught up.
I
but,
felt
like,
so
I
bad.
feel-
I was like watching it and my eyes were glued to the screen. Like I was mesmerized by like what I was seeing. You know, how everything was going on. And I'm just like I was just like blown away. Like how could this animation studio, like how could these people who have such a high
They
amount
are.
of talent, an insane amount of talent, to be able to produce the, you know, a show of this high quality, be treated like lesser than filth by these executives working over there? And you know,
Executives are filth.
The
to tell you
executives are the
truth.
fi-
They're
are real filth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's for everything. They're all the same. You know, they just
they just want money, man.
greedy, filthy.
You know, the
Piece of
animators.
shit.
I need 4 months of that production finished now. Put it on my desk by midnight. I swear to God.
They had requested like a break, you know, like, you know, some time off, and it's the executives, their request was not granted. They were like, no, get back to work.
Yeah,
They're like, get the back to work.
You want to see your family during the holidays? Well, you know what? You're staying overnights and you're animating this scene right now. And it's going to be by yourself. You're doing the line work and the coloring.
Executives are J. Jonah Jameson.
So,
for anyone who didn't notice.
Yeah. So, so real quick, just to grant a little bit of clarity onto this whole situation for the people watching who don't know about the stuff going on with Mappa. So basically, where this information is stemming from is a lot of the animators had come out on Twitter finally talking about the working conditions, because guess what? This is absolutely insane. So the contract that these animators had to sign when working at Mappa is specific. There's a specific thing in this contract, and I don't know the whole contract, but there's a thing in the contract that prohibits them from being able to talk about the working conditions.
A lot of companies are like that. Yeah, a lot of companies make you sign, what is it, like an NDA or something?
Something like that. Well, obviously you can't, like, here's the thing. Like, you end up, like, anytime an episode of JUJUTSU Kaisen pops out, you end up seeing, like, you know, a lot of, like, the storyboarded work and such that goes up on Twitter. So, like, you know, in the sketches and whatnot, which they're allowed to end up, you know, to put out, you know, once the episode has completed airing. But the actual, like, what I'm actually talking about is just like the like stuff like the times, the deadlines, them talking about, you know, stressing out. They're not allowed to talk about any of that stuff on the internet at all whatsoever. And you know when a company is evil, when they have to basically silence their animators from speaking out about the working conditions. You know the working conditions are bad when it's like that. Because because here's the thing, is that if you specifically have to have that written in the contract, it basically tells me, and I'm sure a lot of other people will agree with this too, is that you have a lot to hide. You don't want people to know about that stuff, because you know for a fact that if people were to know about that, then it would get them canceled, which is kind of what we're end up seeing right now. Like a lot of people are really pissed off at Mappa. And now another thing here too is that the JUJUTSU Kaisen had originally, like, was contracted to go out in 2023, and this contract was put out, like, you know, 2 years ago. So I'm like, or 1.5 years ago, or from this point, which I think is a fair amount of time. Problem is that the actual studio, rather than giving them the time to originally to just immediately start working on JUJUTSU Kaisen, Chainsaw Man ended up being a thing. Another like, you know, stuff like Attack on Titan, they already had scheduled and such, but Chainsaw Man ended up being the final straw. And the difference when it comes to Chainsaw Man in particular is that when it comes to this studio, they specifically bought the rights to Chainsaw Man, and they have more rights to it for, like, a lot of the other stuff. Like, they get merchandise sales, they get a ton of the stuff. Like usually they would.
Mappa does?
Yeah, Mappa does. So normally a lot of the contract, like for Dragon Ball, for example, Dragon Ball would air on Fuji TV. That is, they have the rights to that. They get a cut of the profits, you know, when it comes to doing that. Mappa, they get the full thing. So because this is an in-house exclusive production that is specifically airing on. I actually don't know where this airs.
So they probably get a cut of the SH Figure Arts figures then.
They probably do.
And the Anime Heroes figures too.
Yeah, they probably do.
So they're probably getting a cut of all that merch, which they're banking on, and you're forcing your animators to work under conditions like that. This is a company I feel like who does need to get canceled and get a taste of their own medicine of what failure is when you don't treat your employees right. And that goes for any company out there. Don't treat your employees like shit. If you do that to employees, you're not going to have happy employees, and your company might go down under and be non-existent. So, I mean, look at them. They were a top company, and this can make them fall all the way to the bottom and maybe be extinct. So
most likely,
I don't like what I don't like when companies do that. And over in Japan, they do really overwork people there. That's kind of like their lifestyle in a way. And I feel bad that people just get so overworked over there. I understand working, but you can't overwork people, you know? So people still need regular rest. They need to eat, take breaks and stuff. And who knows how working conditions are over there. And with animators, anime is so big over there it might be. I mean, the animators are coming out just saying it, so they're pretty much saying all the wrong that Mappa is doing to them, and you just feel for these people. They're probably just regular dudes like us that maybe got breaks and are working over at Mappa, and now they're getting treated like crap or being taken advantage of, and it's sad hearing that. So.
It sucks because we just right over here in the United States, we just got the whole, the writers strike and the actors strike, and the protection for writers and actors, because of these companies that take advantage of people who want to get into the entertainment industry. People, and it just gets a lot worse outside of the U.S. because I'm pretty sure I think you or Starblast mentioned it. That they don't even have a union over there. That I don't even think Japan.
Yeah, they
allows
probably
unions.
don't. To tell you the truth, they
Someone
probably
could correct
don't.
me if I'm wrong about that, but like it's like there's no protection for, and again I don't want to keep going back and forth with comparing United States and Japan, but like, look at the Spider-Verse movie with Lord Miller. Those actors were overworked even for just animating Spider-Punk. Like how long it took to animate him, and these animators and storyboard artists, and they're just getting overworked, and it's ridiculous, and it sucked because because me and Starblast are animators, and we are trying to get our foots into the door of the animation, Hollywood
Stop motion, and bro, I cannot do 2D animation. I do stop motion.
Well,
is the best.
that's still animation,
Okay,
that
okay,
still
yeah.
counts as animation, as the animation industry. Me more is like 2D and trying to get in a little bit of 3D, but it's like, it sucks because how are we gonna be able to, considering how the industry's so bad at the moment, it's just. I think it kind of also discourages people to even try to pursue that. If anything, it's also another negative that you can, I don't know. It's just for inspiring animators. It's hard, and actors and everything. It's just it sucks. It sucks right now.
Yeah, and I just Googled, and it does say there is unions in Japan.
Okay.
But who knows how good they are,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Either way, the thing about it is that the thing that's mostly important to understand is just the overall society in Japan is just far different in terms of how they in how they're raised, to respect the businesses and to try to be devoted to your work and such and things like that.
Do you see how they deal with money? They put it in a little a pan. They respect their money, and their money isn't all dirty.
When you go to local restaurants or stuff like that, you put on tray. Yeah, it's kind of
tray. Yeah,
it's a different culture, not just financially, but economically and religiously and culturally. They biggest thing you mentioned is the executives or these guys in suits who run the companies, like Toei. Look on the no,
they really are. They really are.
Look at the God, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank now. Totally Not Mark. How his whole channel got demonetized and flagged with copyright because of the Toei situation. Because
a lot of people,
guys who don't understand this whole thing with
fair use.
With fair use, and again, that just goes to show how the culture over in Japan is different than how it is to.
But the big difference that I think really signifies that difference in commitment to their culture is the fact that a lot of these companies where people do often end up overworked is that they get paid vacation days. They get they get quite a few that they can actually use, but because of the fact that that what the studio does is that they give them all of these projects, right? They give them all this load of work, and they make it to where this individual has to be committed in finishing it. It makes it to where they're not even necessarily able to always be able to take advantage of those days and such to get the much needed rest they do, because by doing so, you have to. It becomes a burden to someone else in the industry to have to take upon that work, and other stuff would end up getting piled later. So sure, you can take a break, but when you come back, then you'll have a crap load more of work to have to end up doing later, which is really just you know,
And-
it's more efficient to just not take those days from like the perspective of a worker there.
Yeah, and who knows if they'll let them take their vacation or personal
They legally
days
have to.
when
They legally have
yeah,
to.
but
It's just
when,
the culture. The culture.
Say when they have to get to that deadline, what if they're like, you got to wait till after it's done? You know, they might make them wait till afterwards too. So that might be another shot in the gut for them, you know? I don't know how many animators they have, but they did take on a lot of projects last year. Last year, right? With Chainsaw Man,
Hell's Paradise.
Hell's Paradise, help me out.
Attack on
Cooking
Titan.
Cooking in Another World.
That's 3. Didn't they have like 4 or 5 they were just doing last year?
Yeah, no, Attack on Titan is another one.
Attack on Titan was this year though, right?
No, they also had an episode. They also had stuff happening in
they
Attack on
had it
Titan
last
last
year,
So
too.
actually, funny
So
enough, so they
that's
had
another
they had
one.
a special movie that took place not just this month, but also like at the beginning of this year, and then they also had like the other like the
Which they
other
were
part of
last
this
year.
Yeah, they had the stuff like airing last
Yeah,
year.
so they
And
probably
not to
overworked them
mention,
last year.
not to mention, and you know, me and Starblast already talked about this, but in another video, I don't know if you guys will ever see it. It might be on his channel, but we talked about Attack on Titan, and there's like a new opening and outro, which is a thing of like, oh, that's even more stuff they have to animate. Now it's not as long as like an feature film or an episode.
yeah.
But that's still, but knowing the quality, knowing how they go beyond with their animations, it's just like you're just adding more to the pile.
Yeah, you're just giving them more work. Another thing I wanted to touch up on, Ichiro Oda, as you guys know who that is, right?
Yeah, the creator of One Piece.
Yeah, so this is how he works, because he does all the shit. He only sleeps 3 hours per night and barely sees his family.
That's the
That's
same.
how they-
That's the same as the Attack on Titan guy. He said the same thing in an interview. Hajime
They
Isayama.
barely get sleep. They barely see their family. So you see how how they work over there. You know, it is a lot different. But plus, that's your creation, so of course you're gonna work harder on it. When it's like your little business or something you created, you're gonna work a lot harder on that compared to working for someone. You know what I mean? It's a big difference right there. But it's just insane. Only 3 hours of sleep per night. I don't even know how he does that.
I have no idea. I
And
will
he
say
had to
this.
take a break, and he apologized, and people are like, "What the are you apologizing for, dude? Like, take a goddamn break."
We do hope that you guys did enjoy this episode. If there's anything that I think you should take away from is that like a lot of the people in Japan are very hardworking, definitely deserve a lot of love and respect. And I think that moving forward, when it comes to who we credit, we don't credit the companies. We credit the individual people who work on their craft. We credit the people that work on the things that we enjoy. We credit the animators, not the studio, because at the end of the day, these are the people that truly deserve the respect. And if you actually give more people credit for like this type of work, then then their names will spread around, and it'll be easier for them to get jobs elsewhere if the studio so happens to go down. But yeah, with that being said, we hope that you guys did enjoy this podcast, this episode, and we'll see you guys in the comments section.
See
Till
you
then.
guys later.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our podcast episode. If you're on YouTube and watch the video, then thank you for watching as well. We are your hosts, Starblast Studios,
Champ Animation.
and me, Daredevil 19.
And if you enjoyed our episode on Spotify, be sure to give us a follow and rating.
You can also leave us a comment under the Q&A, and we do thank you if you do. And if you did watch this on YouTube, be sure to give us a like if you liked it, and a subscribe-a-roo if you enjoyed it. And we will catch you on the next episode of the Plastic Power Podcast.